Praise Fowowe is an unconventional thinker, futurist, premier creator, and trainer of family system engineering, a body of knowledge that assists families build systems that support their happiness and assist family life coaches across the globe improve their diagnostic tools and intervention management. Regarded as the father of family system engineering, Praise Fowowe has pioneered an entire sector and trained some of the finest family life coaches across the continent of Africa. An internationally acclaimed family life strategist with a 18-year track record of transforming some of the most difficult families, Praise Fowowe works with high net worth individuals across various cultures on 5 continents and consult for various governments on the family system engineering approach to building a sustainable society. Praise is one of the best go-to persons with effective interventions on family life certifications, sexual abuse prevention and response systems, strategic junior church systems, and out-of-the-box parenting programs. He is a member of the Family Life Coaching Association USA and International Association of Marriage and Family Counselors. He loves to troubleshoot systems and create faster solutions to people and family life relationship issues. He is happily married to Tosin, and they are blessed with David and Cherry.
Media for that introduction. I want to say thank you everyone for this year's conference and thank you for joining us. I want to appreciate the Honorable Commissioner for joining us as well as all the panelists and everyone present here. My name is Praise Fowowe. I am presently an expatriate working in Dallas. All right, and that's how I introduce myself. I have been given the task to give the keynote at this conference. If you know me very well, every conference, I never say anything except the welcome because I love to sit back and learn. But the committee has saddled me with a huge responsibility of taking the keynote for this particular conference. Now, I will share my slides and I will make it very simple so that we can have workable solutions and practicable solutions that we can use even from now. Now, I was born into a family of 7. Later, we became 8. And my earliest experience of chaos happened within the family. I mean, 6 siblings who were older than me. I was, 5 of them older than me, sorry. I was the 6th, then I have a younger brother. Then later, I had another sister. Now, I saw my dad and mom exchange words. They never fought themselves. But every time they were in a heated argument, I will notice that once there was a knock on our door, they came together to welcome the guest. And you would never know that anything was happening. Then once the guest left, they continued their argument. Now I saw my siblings argue about so many issues because some of them just have a year difference between them. And we all belong to the same father. None of us was less than a child within the house. Now we had different relationships with our dad, but he loved everyone equally, and same way our mom. But you see, as we grew older, even now in the family WhatsApp chat, we still have a lot of friction. We still have some fights in here and there, but the bond of family is never broken. Every time I look at the world, I wonder what exactly is happening. I wonder if we all know that regardless of our religion or race, we are all from the same source and we're all human beings. On that note, I am going to be sharing on the word of title, the theme of the conference, Family, a pathway to global peace in the midst of global chaos and disruption. We all can see what happened in Nigeria 2 days ago and what everyone is talking about. And I'm sure it bothers us. But you see, every time I see people kill or people maim other people or fight, the first question I ask is, who raised these people? Now, I want you to look at this image. I'm sure you know him. Now, that was Adolf Hitler, when he was leading the nation called Germany. His father was regarded as an illegitimate child, as the baptismal certificate excluded his name. In fact, they said about his father that his father was a product of a Jewish boy who lived with his parents, where his mother worked as a housekeeper, who slept with her and impregnated her, and that was why his father was regarded as an illegitimate child. So you could see trauma in the life of Adolf Hitler's father. Now, Adolf Hitler was the fourth of the 6 kids born from his dad's 3rd wife. So which means, he was from a polygamous home. 3 of his siblings died at infancy. Now you can see trauma in there. You can see chaos already from the family he was born into. At age 8, he started an intense conflict with his dad over his unwillingness to conform to strict discipline at school. Now, his father, will make him read the King James Bible all the time. And they've tried to suppress his strong willpower, right? Because they didn't quite understand him. So he started having running battle. Now, the loss of his brother affected him, that he moved from an extrovert to a bitter introvert, always fighting his dad and his teachers. No therapy was done. No trauma management was done. No support, loving support from the family. Now, this same guy, Adolf Hitler, once sang in church, looked forward to becoming a priest, but his father's insistence on him becoming a custom officer led to an unforgivable conflict till his father died. He never forgave his father because he wanted to be something else. His father wanted him to be something else and imposed his will on him. And to punish his father, he did terribly, at school. Now, this guy left home after his father died. Then his mother died of breast cancer, when he was 18. He teamed up with his friends to start developing the German nationalistic ideas with allegiance only to the Germans. Now, when his mother died, he became homeless and a peasant laborer, where he became exposed to racist rhetoric and anti-Semitism. Now, no love from home, infighting with himself, no peace within himself. This guy became the tyrant that we all know about. Now, the question you might want to ask is, was he a bad man or a product of a traumatic family system? Because you can only give what you have. If you don't have trauma in you, you can inflict trauma on the rest of the world. But side by side with this guy is another guy, that you all know. This guy, Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was also born to a family of priests as the second of 3 children in a closely knit family system. His father would instruct them to read the Bible out loudly, daily, while the grandmother would tell them Bible stories at bedtime. As a matter of fact, the grandmother was called Mama by the grandchildren, and they all loved her because she showed them a lot of love. Now, his father, just like Adolf Hitler's father, will also flog him for truancy. And that toughened him as he almost committed suicide when he thought one of his schemes had led to the death of his grandma. He was going to kill himself, but he later found out that the woman did not die. Now, he experienced racism when his friend's dad told him his white friends should no longer play with him. As a matter of fact, the man outrightly told him, "You are a beast and whites should not mix with you." His dad, he cried home and he went to meet his dad, but his dad took him through the history of slave trade and racism, which made him resolve to hate every white and inflict pain on every white. But guess what his father told him? His dad told him it was a duty as a Christian to love his enemies. You can see the contrasting family values and how he affects people. Now, this same guy, like Adolf Hitler, sang in church. He became a pastor with time, but not until he had questioned several Christian doctrines while witnessing racial segregation. He couldn't understand why the whites would talk about a God and Jesus, and while they would still talk about racism in the same vein. Now, with his foundation in peace and love, he grew into leading the civil rights movement and consistently promoted love in the midst of hatred. As a matter of fact, it was Martin Luther King Jr. who said that hatred cannot take out hatred. He would take love to take out hatred. Now, based on his beliefs and his ideologies, he was assassinated. Now, his birthday is a public holiday in America. The question you want to ask about Martin Luther King Jr., was he a good man or a product of a loving family system? You can see two global icons and you can see the role the family life played in their formation and the role modeling played in their formation. Now, all over the world, there seems to be chaos all around the world. When I was born, I heard about World War I. If you study World War I, it was triggered by, a man who went to shoot someone else and his wife, and that was what spiraled to becoming what is known as World War I. But what family raised the person who shot somebody? World War II, of course, you know the role Adolf Hitler played in there. I mean, Adolf Hitler, we've talked about him. Now, that was also facilitated by a product from a family system. You know about Gulf War that happened in Iraq many years ago. I mean, at the back of that, you had Saddam Hussein, you had the US government. Those people were also from family. Of course, if you are an African, you know about the Libyan war. I mean, you know Gaddafi, you know how Americans took him out. Of course, Gaddafi is from a family. We know about Idi Amin in Africa, from a family. Nelson Mandela from a family. You know, in Nigeria, we know about Abacha from a family. Well, now we have a president from a family. The question you want to ask is, what kind of family system produced this one? You heard about the lady that was killed in Sokoto from a family. The people that killed him from a family. Human beings killing people from a family. You want to ask, who dropped the ball? What kind of trauma have those people gone through? And how have they grown to that level where there is no longer compassion and humanity, even in their consciousness? Now, these are questions that I want you to begin to think about. But if you look at it, their global chaos is not limited to war. We've had COVID pandemic, 7.9 million deaths already globally from COVID. That was global chaos. 150 million to 1 billion deaths from war since the inception of the world as we know it right now. Think about that for a moment. 1 billion people died from war. That's more than an entire continent. Now that should worry all of us. And if you check every war, it starts from, I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you. So because I feel I'm powerful than you, I'm going to overpower you. Now, the question is, those people having those conversations, how have they tried to resolve issues from their family when they were being formed? 195 million deaths as at 2015 to religious war, according to reddit.com. 195 million religion killing people. The question is, the people they are killing over, none of them was born when those people were alive. None of us was born when Jesus was alive or Abraham. None of us was born when the Holy Prophet was alive. We only heard about them from the books we read. Yet, people are going to kill themselves. Of course, we know that it may not be a religious war. It may be a religious front with a political cover of a people who think they deserve the right to take over people's lands and what have you. Now, 4,000 women die annually due to domestic violence. Now, this is a global chaos. But you see, there are two critical questions I ask when I see wars, when I see chaos, when I see crises. I am asking, why do we have to do this? Why must I kill for a deity or for a prophet who did not even kill people, who spoke against him? And overworked. Why should I kill someone to steal his land? Why should I bring down someone because I wanted to rise? Why do I need to do that? But you know what? Written all over every global chaos is a failed family system of someone who dropped the ball. Gaddafi, someone dropped the ball. If the guy had experienced love, he won't grow to become who he became. What's his name? Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin. These were people who terrorized our world. I mean, from Chicago, Boko Haram, even the Boko Haram people. The people who killed someone in Nigeria, in Sokoto, who were the people that raised them? Someone dropped the ball. Someone from the family did not do what they ought to do. And that's why you have leaders who don't have compassion, because compassion may not have been shown to them from the family that raised them. Now, at the root of every global chaos and world are superiority complex, powered by superiority beliefs. So if you check every word, you will find a sense of superiority. And it's powered by a belief of superiority. our religion is greater than your religion. That's where it starts from. Who says that? From the time we were born, there is no religious mark on any of us. Nobody put a religion. Nobody came here as a Christian or as a Muslim. It was something that was imposed on you by the people that raised you, depending on the parenting that you found yourself. If I was born in Saudi Arabia to the king of Saudi Arabia, I would be a Muslim with pride. I would defend it with my life because that was what I was exposed to. But if this same me was born in China, I would be completely different. I may not practice anything. I may not even believe in anything. I will believe that, science is the way. If I was born, somewhere in Israel, I will be a Jew. So once we believe your religion is greater than someone else, that's where it starts from. Our sect is the only sect. Our denomination is the only denomination. I once had a meeting with the heads of a Christian faith in Nigeria, and I asked them a simple question. If everyone in Nigeria becomes a Christian, will there be peace in Nigeria? The answer was no. I asked why. They said to me that there's no peace in Canaan PFA. Denominational differences is creating a lot of war. So I also met at the mosque with a couple of Muslim leaders, and I asked them, let's assume Nigeria is Islamized and everyone becomes a Muslim. Will there be peace? And they said no. I said, why? They said, because they also have different expression. So our sect is the only sect. Our way is the only way. Every other way is going to hellfire. Says who? None of us has been to heaven or hell. We don't even know what happens over there except what we have read or what we've been exposed to. So how did we become hell accreditation officer to think that if people don't agree with us, they're going to go to hell? Despite the fact that if they throw a bomb at a crowd, the bomb cannot locate a Christian from a Muslim, cannot locate a Muslim from a free thinker. Everyone will die. Everyone is united in death and in life. Then you hear things like we're powerful enough to cheat and dominate. So that is why people can leave the country and come and colonize another country, destroy their system, destroy their culture, tell them that what they have is inferior, tell them that their gods are inferior, tell them that there is nothing great about them, yet steal the artifact, steal the gods, put it in a museum, make money over it, and hand them over something they will never understand, and they begin to fight themselves and implode over time while you build the best cities somewhere else. Now, men are superior to women. That's at the root of domestic violence. Blacks are inferior to whites. I see that all the time. There was a shooting at Buffalo in the United States of America just yesterday of a guy, a white supremacist guy who went to shoot everyone. I got to watch the conversations around a medical doctor who was inseminating unsuspecting women with a semen, a white guy who belonged to a white cult called the Quiverful cult, because they believed that Blacks were giving birth to more children in the US, so they wanted to even that. So every woman with fertility issue inseminated them with a semen. As at the last count, 95 children. But guess what? When it was taken to court, it was only fined $500. Okay, I can do whatever I like since no one can hold me accountable. Don't you see it on social media? Show yourself, be yourself, don't care, don't bother. Nobody can dictate your life. Do whatever you like. Then we can colonize you because we want to. Of course, you are all aware of the chaos between Ukraine and Russia, which is at best sibling rivalry. The life of the rich is superior to the life of the poor. You see that all over Nigeria. The girl has been killed. Politicians have moved on because the next election is more important than the human life. Now, so even primitively in Africa, we have the concept of Obagbesele in the Yoruba culture. What it means is I can be passing around with my wife. The king can look at my wife, and without my consent, the king can put his leg on my wife, and my wife moves in with the king. Now, and all these things happen even before colonization. And that's why I do not like to trade blames, because every time I want to blame the colonialists, we need to look within to say, who were the people who received, mirror? Who were the people who received gunpowder? Who were the people who received cinnamon shinap to sell their brothers? So at the root of every global chaos and wars, a superiority complex powered by superiority beliefs. But guess what? There is something else. At the root of every superiority complex is our beliefs, which drive how we see what we see. Now, I don't want you to think about what do you see. I want you to think about how do you see. There's a picture in front of you, and I'm going to throw it open. How do you see? Or if you have to describe what is in front of you, what exactly is it that you can see in front of you. You can go to the chat box and type how you can see what you see in front of you. Now, I'm sure someone is smiling because they know exactly where I'm going with this. Because if how you see what you see is already compromised, you are going to damage people, whether from your family, how you see your children. I mean, if you see your children as royalties, you're going to treat them with compassion. If you see them as they just came out of me, you're going to beat them black and blue, slap them, yell at them, mess them up, impose your trauma on them. Now, so look at this. Now, someone looks at this guy in this image in front of you, and all he sees is a demonic spirit. Now, what is he going to do? He's going to call this guy a demon. He's going to say this masquerade is a demon. This is blah, 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 blah. Is it right or wrong? It could be right. But you know what? It's right, and his truth is not a universal truth. But he will never believe because he sees things from a one-liner perspective. And I'm sharing with you exactly where chaos comes from. But another person looks at this and he sees a culture. Now, the person who sees a culture is going to be at loggerhead with the person who sees a demon. The person who sees a culture will embrace this guy. The demonic person will be casting them out. You are casted out in the name of Jesus. You know, you'll be speaking in tongues and doing gymnastics to cast them out. And that is a war already. Because all he's saying now is right to see a demon, because only people who understand demons can recognize demons. Maybe he goes to demonic meeting and he has taken selfie with demon and he can recognize a demon. That is his truth. That is his reality. But the other guy who says culture is also right because all he sees is culture, his heritage, his religion, is going to defend it. Now, both of them will not know that two people can see the same thing differently and both of them are correct. So demon will be fighting with culture. But there's a third guy who doesn't see demon, who doesn't see culture, who sees a business, and that guy is the son of the man behind the masquerade. He knows that that masquerade is not from heaven. He knows it's his father. He knows the money he collects is what he used to pay school fees. Now, he sees business. The demonic person sees demon. The cultural person sees heritage. So the cultural person is a foot soldier. He actually believes that he's a spirit. So he worships the masquerade. The demonic person wants to cast out the masquerade. The business person wants to make money from the masquerade. Now, that is war already brewing. Both of them, three of them are correct. But there's a fourth guy who sees a costume business. And the fourth guy says, wow, if we can replicate his prayer is God, let there be more masquerade so that I can be the supplier of their costume, because all I see is costume. So the costume guy wants to make more money. The demonic guy wants to eradicate, masquerade. If he eradicates masquerade, he will eradicate culture. If culture is eradicated, the business guy will drop out of school. If that is eradicated, this costume guy will be broke. So another Armageddon is brewing. World War IV is already brewing there. But there's a fifth guy who sees innovation with global business prospect. So he sees the four guys fighting. What does he do? He looks at the guys and says, what is the problem here? Okay, the demonic guy is casting out this demon because this guy actually looks demonic. So what does he do? He takes the masquerade, notices that he has a husky voice, changes his husky voice, takes him through voice training, tells him to speak with kindness. Now he notices the cane in his hand, removes the cane from his hand and turns it to gift. He looks at his costume and he says, this is not friendly. He puts a red costume with a white cap on him. Then he knows that he needs to make money from all the people fighting. What does he do? He weaves a story, December 25, and renames the guy Santa Claus. And he represents him to the market as Santa, weaves it around the birth of Jesus Christ and says Santa is coming bearing gifts. The once upon a time scary guy suddenly becomes friendly in December. The person casting him out brings his children, pays money to to take his child to see Santa. He doesn't know he's still the same masquerade. But the innovation guy with global business prospect is seeing beyond the four of them. But guess what? There's a sixth guy who sees an entire sector with certification program and global fashion fad. So what does this other guy do? He notices that, wow, why should we make it only Santa? We can also make it Halloween. So he looks at All Souls Day, November 1st, makes it into Halloween costumes, and he begins to make more Halloween. But we need more people behind the mask. So he creates a masquerade certification program, makes it global, puts it in Harvard, and everybody begins to take that certification program, paying so much money. It becomes a global trend. So you see masquerade in Japan, you see masquerade in China, you see masquerade everywhere in the world. The seventh guy comes and says we can create a fashion show, a global competition like Mr. World. So he creates the ultimate masquerade plus a TV series. The children of the demon casting person, they are still casting out demons. The cultural person is still holding on to his culture, but it's broke. The business person has minimal money, but this guy has now reinvented it, made it a global competition. Everybody is representing, every nation is presenting their ultimate masquerade representative. At the local level, they are doing national ultimate masquerade person. There's a TV series that is holding everyone spellbound. Guess what? There's an ex-guy who looks at the masquerade and says there's blockchain technology. Why don't we create NFTs around this? So he creates NFTs, put it on metaverse, and the whole world is making money off this guy. There's a nice guy who sees $1 billion industry. Now look at this. Someone saw demon. Another person saw culture. Another person saw business. Another person saw costume business. Another person saw innovation with global business prospect. Another person saw an entire sector with certification program, and it became maybe Harvard, an entire course. Another person saw a global fashion fad. Another person saw a global competition called Ultimate Masquerade. Another person saw NFT. Another person made it an entire $1 billion industry. Number 10 can be what else? There is much more. So that is showing us that I don't have to see the way you see things, but what I must do is to accept your humanity, respect your worldview, seek to understand you, and seek to love you. If we all are like this, we will create global peace, because our beliefs, all these people, what they see is very valid. What they see is their truth, but their truth, none of their truth is universal truth, because people are permitted to see all sorts of things. And that takes me to what I have always believed, that all we know is all we know, but what we know is not all there is to know. The moment you agree with yourself that I know all there is to know, you've already failed, and you are a candidate as a terrorist, because all you know is all you know, but what you know is not all there is to know. So what must we do as we seek to use the family as a place where we can cure global chaos? Number one, everyone here needs to learn to promote humanity through aggressive human education. Now, if you look at every human being, I have a school daughter who is still like my adopted daughter. She's been a Muslim since our school days. She's still a Muslim. I have not told her to become a Christian. I love her. I would support her. I will do everything I can to ensure that she's fine. She's on this call listening. So we must promote humanity through aggressive education, human education. We met Christianity here. We met Islam here. We met many of the differences here. If you look at the next person, you would see that there's a lot of similarities. So if we all here determine that we will only see humanity, we will see man made in God's image, not a religion, not a race, not a tribe. If that's what we would see, we will transform our world. Number two, we need to embrace and promote a family system that promotes the best interest of all. What that means is the family system engineering compliant. That was why we had to create an entire body of knowledge, which is the only certification program across West Africa right now. Now we are reaching out to state government to help them create family response squad, because policy must come side by side with professional certification, that the more people who can promote this and break down the barrier. So you can see the diagram. Every family needs a governance system. Every family needs a communication system. Every family needs a family educational system, family economic system, domestic management system, entertainment and recreational system, security system, family healthcare and wellness system. These are all systems that every family needs to build, because if evil can be conditioned, good can be conditioned as well. And that's why we offer family system engineering certification program. Number three, we need to model diplomacy and assist children master. I love what the chairman of education said, that we need to embrace diplomacy. Our children at loggerhead, we need to bring in mediation. Once we can teach them that you can see things differently and both of you are right, that is better to build bridges than to dig dungeons, then we will have our families work together. Once they can work together, then we can create a new society that collaborates for the best interest of all. Number 4, we need to master the power of meaning and refuse to be part of any venture of movement that compromise the dignity of humanity. Drop the baton. What that means is, what will things mean to you? If someone looks at me and says my Jesus is stupid, I'm not going to fight the battle of Jesus. Should they say Jesus has power? Let Jesus defend himself. I was not here when Jesus came, except what I read, and I believe it. However, I am not going to die for insulting Jesus. The same way I do not think any human being needs to kill someone else because they disagree with you, right? If somebody insults your God, let the God fight for himself. I don't recommend that. Respect people. If they don't want their God insulted, don't do that. However, if we master the power of meaning, if you call me stupid, I won't respond to you because I know I'm not stupid. Now, in fact, if stupid means to me that I am the most handsome guy, if you call me stupid, I will smile. Let me say this to you. Language can be manipulated. Language creates feeling, but what you want to feel must determine your beliefs. So if you rig yourself contrary to how you've been rigged and master the power of meaning, if they call you useless, it will mean to you less use, which means they don't know how to maximize me. So instead of getting upset, you will empathize with them because they don't know better. Number 5, become an instrument of peace and spread the energy of love. There can't be a peaceful world without peaceful individuals, right? And if there is chaos within us, and how do you know? If you hiss all the time, if you scream all the time, you yell, when things don't go your way, starting with children, if you are slapping them, there is no peace within you, right? If you are always yelling, shouting, screaming, it means it's the clearest indicator that there is trauma within you. And if you go on social media and you judge people all the time, it shows that there's a bit of trauma in you. We can all become an instrument of peace and spread the energy of love. And number 6, families must become clans, which becomes villages all over again, with dispute resolution system. I've lived amidst Indians. I have seen them resolve their dispute. You will hardly see Indians in the diaspora take themselves to court over issues. Why? They have village system. They have the head of those villages who can mediate and promote their global peace. Jews do the same thing. Before you see them take themselves to court, it would mean that they've exhausted every opportunity. But blacks, we are too quick to pull ourselves down. Africans, we believe that if someone's own does not spoil, your own can never be good. That's a wrong way to live. Our families must become clans, which means 10 families must come together to form new villages. We cannot depend on the villages we call our villages right now because we don't understand a lot about the village and the village has not evolved. We need to begin to create new villages, which is why we do community infusion programs. So we must be able to resolve dispute and appoint someone that we all defer to. And lastly, we must leverage family-centered politicians to push policies that can promote family peace. I'm glad we have the Honorable Commissioner here to grace this occasion and be one of our panelists. We thank you very much for honoring us. We have people like that in power. We need to leverage them and promote family-centered policies. So for example, if everyone who is pregnant is mandated to go through a parenting education, that is a way to save our world. If everyone going through court system is, to get married to the registry, or people going to church or mosque is mandated to take family life education, wherein they understand how to run a family. If that becomes mandatory, then we will begin to teach people how to build family life that works. With psychometry, we will know people who are likely going to kill themselves and advise appropriately. So we need to leverage family-centered politicians to push policies that can promote family peace. Finally, let me say that love must be all that matters. And our concept called Ubuntu, which is the ideology of the Institute, that no human is human except through others. And the only tribe that exists is tribe humanity. When I was a child, my best friend, was Usman. We walked to school and put what is called Ofio when I was a child, right? Ofio. What is the English name now? I can't remember. But we'll put it on it's like groundnut, but we'll put it on our pocket and we'll eat together on our way to school. So one day we were coming back from school and we branched in the church where there were boys' brigade practicing. So I picked the side drum, he picked another drum. As he was playing, the head of the band looked at him and he says, your face doesn't look familiar. And what's your name? He said, it's Usman. Said, are you a Christian? He said, no, I'm a Muslim. He said, no, you are not supposed to play this. This is meant for Christians. My friend started crying and I walked him home. As we walked home, I said, bye-bye to him. We'll see you in school tomorrow. But the following day, I had brought more granite to school, but my friend was stone cold. He wasn't my friend anymore. I asked him what happened. He said his father reported his father, and his father said we weren't meant to be friends. Best of friendship terminated on the altar of religion. I've seen that happen over and over again. People want to get married. You hear you can't marry an Igbo man because all Igbos are this, stereotyping. We do not think about the content of human character. We need to crash the walls that separate us and promote humanity, because there is no me without you. There is no you without me. Whatever I do against you, I do against myself. Tyrants were not born. They were made from our families. Same way saviors were not born. They must be made from our families. However, we can't make them if we don't become peaceful individuals in how we treat ourselves and others, starting from our family. How do you treat yourself? What do you say to yourself when you mess up? How do you handle yourself? How do you handle your children? How do you talk to your husband and wife? How do you talk to your children? How do you treat them? That is where it must start from. We can create a new community in 20 years if all of us become agents of peace. And I'm going to leave you with the words of a song by Father Zizi that was composed many years ago. I'm going to allow you guys join me to sing it. Pardon me. In like 5 minutes, I'll be done. All right? And I love this song because it means a lot to me. Okay, so you can join me. It was written by St. Francis of Assisi in 2012. Just follow me. I'll come back and I'll wrap up. We all need to make today.
Where there is blindness, we will pray for sight. Where there is darkness, we will shine His light. Where there is sadness, we will bear their grief. To the millions crying for release, we will be His
Okay, so thank you very much, guys. I want you to remember as I wrap up that the most important nation on earth is the family. Because your family is the production factory of the society. If we all become peaceful individuals and promote a peaceful family system, we will create a peaceful community and ultimately a peaceful world. Always remember, love and peacemaking is better than war making. I'll repeat that. Love and peacemaking. Love making, peacemaking is better than war making. Let's make our family a haven of love, a haven of peace. Let's even start with ourselves becoming a people of peace, a people of love, and not a man of war, not in the Boski. Let's become people of peace. Thank you very much for inviting me. God bless you.